The reality that is God must be realized. It is not realized, then this world is damned. Right now, the world is controlled by ego. Egos are in charge. Small r reality is in charge. God is not in charge. For there to be a transformation, then God must be realized. And that God reality, likened to the open hand, is far removed from the small r reality, likened to the clenched fist of humanity. Right now and for thousands of years, the world has been charged by ego. Ego does not know how destructive it is. Ego does not know that ego cannot get rid of ego. Ego does not know that ego is not necessary. Ego does not know that ego is being made, that ego is not an entity, that ego is not something, but ego is an activity which is not necessary, like clenching one's hand, forming a fist. That activity is not necessary. But day in, day out, for thousands of years, that activity has been the norm of human life and is not necessary. This clenching of the fist creates a small r reality, and everyone is doing this, and so all we get is bombardment, aggressiveness within the human world. We get consolations. We get, you scratch my back and I'll scratch your back mentality. We get emotions being dramatized throughout the day, every day, for thousands of years. I am right, you are wrong mentality. Do it my way or else mentality. Why do you think there are such atrocities in the human world? Because I am right and you are wrong mentality. This activity creates, as you can see in the clenching of the hand, there's a tightness, there's a pain, there's a discoloration of the hand. But that's not natural. That's not necessary. To live beautifully, peacefully, cooperatively, happily with one another. The analogy that I'm using here, the clenched fist mentality, small r reality, must be undone, must be forgotten. The open hand reality, the God reality, the capital R reality must be apparent, must be realized. So then all this pain and suffering simply vanishes. All this I am right and you are wrong mentality simply dissolves. There are people that have realized the God reality, the capital R reality, which is love, bliss, joy, delight, intimacy, cooperativeness, tolerance. There are people that have realized that state, but they're very few. It's down to the individual self. The individual self must become fed up with this small r egoic reality. For me, the realizer, Adidar Samraj, who has taught me that there is no way out of this egoic mentality of suffering, of unhappiness, of me against you, by doing more ego. There is no remedy. There is no equation. There is no amount of knowledge that will remove this nonsense, this activity of what I call, Adidar calls, the self-contraction. It's contraction upon the God reality. It's not necessary. Everybody is making and everybody is meditating on clouds. The clouds become the norm of everybody's life. The problems, the concerns, the anxieties, the fears, the seeking for ways out, the trying to establish the right religion, the right recipe for living. It's all coming from this same place. Ego, this self-contraction. It's not necessary. The God reality is beyond all of this. The God reality, likened to the sun, is beyond the clouds. Take a plain piece of paper. There is something written on the back, but take a plain piece of paper. What can be written on that plain piece of paper? It could be something that everybody knows, like water is wet, or fire is hot. These statements of truths could be written on the plain piece of paper. Sorry, plain piece of paper. But anything can be written on that plain piece of paper. And people will say, that's the truth. Consider the thousands of religions there are. And all of these religions have books written about their religions. But where did all those books begin? Or what state were all those books in before anything was written about their religion? It came from a plain piece of paper. Everything that's been written has been written on a plain piece of paper, or on something, on parchment maybe, on a cave, on a wall of a cave. That plain piece of paper is the prior state, if you like, before something's added. The sun is prior to the clouds. The God reality, represented by the open hand, is prior to the clenched fist reality. But it's the clenched fist reality, small r reality, that everyone is so concerned about, because it seems real to them. But it's all an illusion. Because stop doing the clenched fist activity, it just vanishes. The pain goes away. The discoloration of the hand goes away. The God reality is the only way to be rid of the clouds, to be rid of the pain and suffering and anxiety and fear and doubt and wars and discontent and frustrations and irritations. Tune in to the God reality. The God reality is without thought. The God reality is without words. The God reality is without fear, anxiety. The God reality is without problems. The masters, the enlightened people, come into the world to reveal this truth. It's not about mind, it's not about the head, it's not about perfection, it's not about striving. It's simply about falling into that place, realizing that place, that prior place, the God place, the God reality, the reality that is already the case. See, the plain piece of paper is already the case, no matter what's written on it. Consider the trillions or billions of CDs and DVDs. Many are repeated. You can hear the same piece of music on many CDs. Where do they all begin? They began as a blank CD or a blank DVD before anything is added onto that blank disc. It is, if you like, pure. It is untainted. It is blank. That's the God state. The God state was never born and will never die. It's consciousness, capital C consciousness. It's what there is to realize. It's the stability. It's the constant. The sun is the constant. The clouds are not the constant. Ego is not constant. Ego changes from day to day, hour from hour. Scientists will come out with the truth, then the next week they come out with something different. Pharmaceutical companies. God is the constant. constant reality, which is represented by in this case, by the open hand. It's prior to the clenched fist. The clenched fist activity is not necessary. But how do we get out of being ego? How do we stop this fearful nonsense, this anxiety, this concern, this screwing ourselves up, this activity? Simply by redirecting your feeling attention. Stop putting your feeling attention onto the clouds. Put your feeling attention on the sun. And in my case, Adidar Samraj is the sun. To keep remembering the sun, in that place of remembering the sun, we forget to do the activity, which is not necessary. So peace on earth, heaven on earth, it all depends on the stopping of doing this activity. And in that stopping, we realize our true self, capital S, self. The body doesn't even need to be perfect. You don't need to have loads and loads and loads of books and knowledge. The sun, the God reality, is prior to knowledge. It's prior to what's put on the page. I'm going to read one quote of Adidar Samraj because it's here. And as he says, if we don't devotionally recognize the God-man, the sun, that prior condition, then there seems to be an enormity of world and ego self to be figured out. Are you trying to figure something out right now? Is your head screwing you up? The content of your so-called mind? Is it disturbing you? Are you trying to fathom it all out? That's ego. That's the activity of ego. That's the self-contraction. And there are always a lot of things you seek and do. People aren't satisfied with their diets, for instance. They're always looking for the perfect diet. Are you always looking for the perfect diet? Are you ever satisfied with your diet? The God-man says, when I am devotionally recognized, there is not anything to do anymore, because there is no problem, and therefore no basis for seeking, none whatsoever. Once you're in that realized place, that state, that God reality, once you're allowing the God reality to take over the body-mind, your life becomes a pleasure to live. It's a pleasure to be here. It's a pleasure to be there. You live as a constant. You live as God intends. You're allowing the body-mind to be God's body-mind. God is a state. God is a reality, a capital R reality. God is the prior state to ego. Ego is the ruination of life. Ego strangles life. Ego suffocates God. Ego dominates. There's no such thing as a big ego or a little ego. Ego is ego. You can't have water being more wet than other water. water is equally wet. You won't understand what I'm saying until you're there. Every mother taught their child not to touch fire. Don't touch that, it's hot. We were taught that when we were 1 year old maybe, or when we became toddlers. Don't touch that, it's hot. But what does every human being have to do? We have to touch fire in order to realize it's hot. And once we've realized something, we base our life on that realization. I was taught, don't ever eat the leaves of rhubarb. Eat the rhubarb, but not the leaves, they're poisonous. Don't eat that, that's poisonous. Mothers taught us a lot about what was good to eat and what was not good to eat. Well, hardly anyone has ever taught you. No one's ever taught you, until possibly now, that God is a reality that has nothing, that is nothing. It's a saying, ignorance is bliss. The blissful state of God is like an open hand. There isn't anything there. It's a state. It's a reality. It's likened to the blank piece of paper. But then, just as water is wet, you see, you can't actually isolate wetness from water is wet, that's what it is. The God state, or the fruits of the God state, patience, love, tolerance, cooperativeness, love bliss, sheer ecstatic happiness, openness, freedom. That's the quality of God. You can't separate. The body-mind becomes that vessel for those qualities. Then it's a sheer joy to simply live and be happy. Likened to the open hand, like a spoon, we become servants for one another. God moves through our body minds. God is a state. And it's common to us all. It's the same state for everybody. Millions of people are taking in water right now. Water's, what is it, H2O. Same for everybody. So let us all realize the God state by turning to the God state, by turning away from the clouds to the God state. For me, Adidal Samraj is that God state. And as an old Indian saying, you become what you meditate on. So I meditate on the God state, and I become the God state. Or this body-mind is allowed to be lived by the God state. And the God state is very powerful. The God state is full of energy, boundless energy, just by opening up. changing the disposition of ego to the disposition of God. Realize it for yourself. It's not about beliefs, it's a realization. Thank you for listening. You should be surrendered to God, surrendered to the Son. But no, we surrender to our egoic nonsense, which is only about me against you. But there's no me against you in this disposition. Water merges with water. You cannot see the difference. There's a bottle of my water and there's a bottle of your water. Put them together, pour the water from this bottle and from this bottle into the same container. Where's your water now? And where's my water? The God state is the same for everyone. And then we can put our hands together, embrace and become one. One with everything. No separation. There's an intimacy with everything. That's the God state of happiness, joy, delight. Thank you. That's what I do all day long. All day long I discover the God state. I go from this to this because I am graced and I am blessed. I turn away from this to that. I turn away from the clouds to that. I forget the clouds. And they're not made anymore. That self-contraction is no longer. That inwardness, that subjectivity is no longer. God is neither within or without. God is simply God. The God state. I recommend it to everybody. The God state is full of humour. Humour is restored. Intimacy is restored. Forget this and remember this. Everyone is doing their utmost to remember this, or their clouds, or their history. Remember this disposition. The disposition of love and happiness and joy, and delight, and wonderment, and mystery. We do not know what a single thing is. That's what the black paper says. I don't know all that goes on this piece of paper. I don't know what a single thing is. The CD and the DVD doesn't know what's written, what's been recorded on the CD. It's divine ignorance, it's bliss. And then we can live within the conditional world, happily, easily and effortlessly. Then we can discriminate, we can be, then we be intelligent. Intelligence, true intelligence is restored. Enough. Thank you for listening. Realize the open hand disposition.